Hello again, everybody. This is John and Glenn with BestPriceNutrition.com. Today we're going to do a video on a question that we get a lot, and it's, hey guys, how do I gain weight? Like I said, we get this question a lot, and we know sometimes for you guys it can become kind of a complex thing. You're searching the internet, you're trying to find things. There's a lot of lazy skepticism out there on one side of things. Then there's a lot of people where there's absolutely no skepticism, and it's just pie in the sky, anything goes. So we're going to try and cut through a lot of the muck and help you guys find, exactly what you need to do in order to gain weight. First, we want to start off right away with the basic equation that comes down to for gaining weight. You want to run through that, Glenn?
Yeah, basically you've got your calories you consume and the amount of energy that you put out. So if you're looking to gain weight, you're going to want to keep your calories that you consume higher than your energy output. If they're equal, you're not going to gain any weight. You're just going to maintain your weight. And if your energy output's higher than your calories, then you're going to be losing weight because you'll be burning those excess calories.
And then some foods tend to have a bit of more of a thermic effect than others. So
protein does.
Yeah, some calories, and even different individual foods, regardless of the macronutrient, tend to have a little bit more of an effect or less of an effect in terms of thermic. So it's not quite as simple as calories in, calories out, but for the most part it is. So for our purposes, we're going to stick with that because we don't need to go, too in depth on that. First, we wanted to knock out a couple myths, specifically the fast versus slow metabolism myth. There are people with slow or fast metabolisms. However, it's rare. It's usually not the case. It's usually diagnosed as some kind of a thyroid condition, hypothyroidism. And specifically, this has been researched because I know in the past we've brought this up with people like, oh, no way, I have a fast metabolism, or you'll hear, girls, I'm sure you've met, my friend Susie eats Cheetos and she's skinny, oh my God. So, okay, your friend Susie stands up more, exercises more, probably doesn't eat quite as much as what you think. So the reality is Dr. James Levine of the Mayo Clinic, he found that obese people tend to sit down on average about 150 minutes or 2.5 hours more per day than lean people. Basically the way this works out to is about 350 calories per day, or anywhere from 30 to 50 pounds a year. Now obviously there's going to be varying levels in there based upon how active somebody else is, what calories are they taking in, but that's generally it. Just standing and doing more, and just being more of an active person or a busybody.
Yeah, that's putting stress on your body and asking your body to function. So you are going to be using extra calories.
Sure. And also, obese people tend to have, or just even slightly overweight people tend to have a faster metabolism than somebody thinner on the other end of things, because for their body to perform basic functions takes that much more energy. By definition, that's one of the problems.
They're going to need to use those calories to, just to walk or go up a set of stairs, because the load on them is much heavier as compared to someone who's lighter.
Yeah, your heart has to work harder to pump blood, all that stuff. So that's something else to consider. Now, another study, this was a long-range study that covered a lot of subjects. It was published in the New England Journal of Medicine. This one specifically looked at people, and they followed them and based on how much they were eating and energy expenditure. And basically the conclusion was that the failure of most of the obese people was that in order to lose weight, while they were on a diet, they tended to underreport how much they were actually eating, and they overreported how much physical activity they were doing. So Glenn brought up both sides of the equation. Well, they were saying, hey, I'm only eating this much, when really they're eating this much, and I'm exercising this much when they're only exercising this much. The same happens with people who have fast metabolisms. We hear people, I'm 130 pounds, I eat 5,000 calories a day. No, you don't. You're not eating 5,000 calories a day. Write it down, unless you have a tapeworm in your gut, eating the rest of the calories. That's a lot of calories. So if you're that small and you say you're eating that many calories, really what we advise you to do is write it down and really figure it out and be honest with yourself. Because you're really just not eating that much. Otherwise you gain weight, or you have a thyroid condition.
Yeah, I think a lot of the problem comes in because we estimate too much. The best thing advice I've given to people is to write everything down that you're eating. I'll take a week's period of time, and then that Sunday, the end of the week, just evaluate what you ate every day, the amount of calories, and you can see, okay, I'm not gaining weight, I'm not losing weight, I'm maintaining. I eat this many calories per day. I need to add to that, and that should in turn lead to extra weight gain.
Yeah, and the other thing too is you can look up the foods like Glenn suggested. There's like Nutrition Journal, I think, .com, and you could find out about the nutrition content of like a sweet potato, an apple, all these various things, just to get a rough idea. You're not going to over or underestimate by 1,000 calories. If you're off by 100, give or take, that's really not going to make that much of a difference. So now if you're somebody, because there's different goals and stuff, they're going to determine, hey, I just want to put on a little bit of weight, stay closer to my lean, low body fat, body mass. That's actually probably a little better a method in my opinion, because at some point I think you're just going to get fat, and then there's diminishing returns on strength. At some point, you're not going to get all the gains that you get in the initial maybe 10, 15 pounds that you gain from having a little bit extra body fat.
Yeah, if you're 130 pounds, you're 6 foot tall, and you're looking to get to 160,
Sure.
170, it's going to be a gradual period of time to get to that weight, because if you can imagine putting on 30 pounds in 2 months, there's a significant amount of that's going to be fat.
Yeah, you could do it over the course of a year. I know when I was younger, as 17, I was 130 pounds. I went to 155 over the course of a year, and I just started eating more and working out and doing those things, and then slowly, as I've gotten older, been able to put on weight easier.
Yeah, I was a football player in high school and college, and I got recruited to play an offensive line, and they always said you're too light, so I was in around 250 to 270. So over a winter break, I actually put on about 30 pounds, and I can tell you that wasn't lean muscle mass. At the time, I didn't know any better, so I just ate as much as I could.
And for some people, it's like, hey, music to my ears, I get to eat more.
Oh, yeah.
For me, it was always harder. I would always try and get as many calories in, but I was always a busybody. So, and looking back, it's like, okay, that's why it was a little bit more of a struggle. But you can do it. And something else to consider is, now let's say you add something like a weight gainer. This is where supplements can come into play, into your diet. These are going to be extra calories. And what a weight gainer really is, a good one, is you should look for the protein to carb ratio. Ideally, you want to stay at 3 to 1 and under. In other words, 3 grams of carb for every 1 gram of protein. Otherwise, you're just kind of paying for carb powder, and carbs are cheap, so you can always eat them. You can eat a bowl of white rice with your protein powder, or have a banana and white rice with your protein powder, or something like that, to increase those calories. Bottom line is you still want to get about 3/4 to 1 gram of protein per pound of your goal body weight per day. But when you do add the weight gainer into your diet, something like Quick Mass, Real Mass, which you have, or these are just some of them that have a pretty good carb to protein ratio. Don't replace food with it. If you were eating 2,000 calories and then you start drinking this for another 600, and then you just eat 600 less calories, well, you're back to square one.
Yeah, a lot of times people take this as breakfast, and they're trying to add that 600 calories every day. Well, that may fill you up, and you may not eat. You're replacing breakfast with breakfast, so you need to take it possibly at a time, maybe in between breakfast and lunch, or at a time where it's not going to inhibit you from eating extra calories. So I know a lot of people might take weight gainers before they go to bed because, you're not eating anymore. That's a good time to possibly take them.
Sure. Yeah, and really, even if you don't do it right before bed, you can do it because maybe you don't sleep as well because your digestive tract working. There's a lot of people have issues with that too. Plus, you're up going to the bathroom all night and stuff, and that can be a pain. So the other thing to consider is something like creatine. Creatine is a very good supplement, and that's whether you're trying to bulk up or not. Okay. We know it's it's the most studied supplement that there is in terms of performance enhancement. So we know that can really help. You can gain as much as 5 to 8 pounds within the first few weeks. If you load on it within 5 days, you're going to get that gain pretty quick. And that water, 70% of your muscle is water, so you actually need that in your cells, and that's going to help how creatine works. So somebody's trying to sell you some novel form of creatine that says it doesn't increase water retention. It's just wrong. Water drawn into the cell is not the same as subcutaneous fluid beneath your skin. If your sodium levels are elevated for a short period of time or something like that, which we have a video on that, what happens there. But that's a different story. But bottom line is supplements can help, but you got to eat more than you burn. And if you're somebody that's coming from the aspect like hey, I'm pretty lean right now, I'm 180 pounds, I'd like to get to about 190, 195 for the winter. And you know where you're at right now. You're 180 pounds, you're lean, you know what you've been eating, you know what your activity level is. Start slowly. Yeah. Maybe just add a sweet potato into your diet. Add, a yogurt and an apple, or just start slowly and build it in. After a couple weeks, I'm not quite gaining where I want to be. Add some more into your diet. Do it there. If your protein's already where you need it at the 3/4 to a gram per pound of your goal body weight per day, do it with carbs and fat, and do it with healthy foods. I mean, obviously, we talk a lot about health and athletic performance.
Yeah, you don't want to be consuming gummy bears and M&Ms and.
Well, maybe they do taste good. I mean, and on occasion, I admit.
He's lucky with having a higher activity level. He can eat those things.
He almost said fast metabolism.
I don't
eat them that much. I don't eat them that much. I will from time to time though have a sweet, and that's okay. Look, you got to live and have fun. If you're eating 80-90% of the time, you're on track. Whether somebody's doing a paleo diet or something. We have another video on that. That's a separate issue. I keep saying that, but it's hard not to just go all over the place on some of these videos, but we'll call it as a good healthy diet. For us, that's lean meats, healthy fish, fruits, vegetables, things like that, and almonds, walnuts,
healthy fats,
stuff like that. And like we said, a good weight gain foods are like starches like white rice and things like that. Potatoes,
pasta. Stuff like that.
Yeah, but pastas you might want to avoid.
Yeah, you're right.
If you have gluten intolerance, things like that. So. That's where, in supplements again, like beta-alanine, things like that. That's another good ingredient. things like that, obviously essential fats. So you still want to stay healthy. You're just trying to get more calories, the bottom line.
Yeah, the goal is not to fill yourself with a bunch of bad food, because then you're taking your healthy body and you're adding these bad foods, and then you're going to get to a point where you're going to put on fat mass, and you're just not going to feel healthy.
You're not going to feel good or want to eat in the next meal. I know there was always an issue with me whenever I would try and bulk up in the past. If I eat something bad, I'd be like, oh, I'd be sitting around like I don't want to eat anymore. So it's always better to feel better and eat better. But like I said, on the weekend, have some pizza, do that stuff, fine, do it up. So I hope we were able to give you guys some good methods, for gaining weight. Hopefully we were able to convince you, based on research, about metabolism. You're not cursed by a fast or slow metabolism. It's really up to you. And we really advise you to write down what you're doing, follow that advice, and kind of add in from there. So hope we were able to answer those questions and help you guys out. If you have any questions, feel free to post them in the comments section. Also, if you like the video, there's a thumbs up underneath. You can rate it. We appreciate it. And you can also check us out at facebook.com/BestPriceNutrition. Thanks a lot for watching.
Thank you.